Chapter 2. Iggy's non-existent puppy. In order for you to understand why Iggy's mom and dad surprisingly wanted him to be different, you need to know something about Iggy. It's not a surprising thing. It's a completely normal and reasonable thing. Iggy wanted a puppy. Iggy had always wanted a puppy. As far back as he could remember, he'd wanted a puppy. In Iggy's opinion, he was the kind of kid who was supposed to have a puppy. He knew how happy he'd be all the time if he had a puppy. On sunny days, he and the puppy would go to the park. He'd throw the ball and the puppy would chase it. On cold nights, the puppy would sleep next to him and they'd both be warm. When Iggy had homework, his puppy would sit next to his desk, lifting his head to give Iggy a sympathetic look every now and then. When Iggy's friends came over, they'd want to play with the puppy because the puppy was so much fun. But in the end, the puppy would trot back to Iggy because he'd always loved Iggy the best. Iggy didn't even care what kind of puppy it was. That's how much he wanted one. Big or small, didn't matter, though it couldn't be one of those teeny-weeny ones that quivered. Long hair or short, didn't matter, though it couldn't be one of those goofy ones with puffy balls of fuzz on its ankles. It didn't even have to be a puppy. It could be a grown-up dog, though it couldn't be one of those gross ones with crusty eyes. You are probably asking why, if Iggy wanted a puppy so much, he had no puppy. Iggy had asked that very question. In fact, he had asked his parents that very question about 500 times. Why did he ask the same question 500 times? Did he forget the answer? No, he didn't. He was just hoping the answer would change. Actually, his parents gave him lots of different answers. Here's one. "Oh, Iggy, we have too much going on around here to get a dog." Iggy looked around the house and saw nothing going on. That's why he wanted a dog. Here's another. "Nobody has time to take care of a dog." Iggy did. Or, "This place is already a mess, and a dog would make it worse." What mess? There was no mess. And then, the tough one, the big one, the one that Iggy couldn't deny or fight or solve. "Dogs make your dad sneeze." What could Iggy say to that? Let's get rid of Dad! Of course not. Dad was great, except for the sneezing. So the years went on, and Iggy remained puppyless. Then came a certain Sunday afternoon in March. You know how Sunday afternoons are, right? Long. All the weekend fun you were looking forward to is over, and tomorrow is Monday and school and the regular boring hard things. Nothing is fun enough on a Sunday afternoon. This certain Sunday afternoon was no different. Iggy was bored. He was bored, and he was mad about being bored because it was the weekend and he should have been having fun, not slomping around. First, he slomped around in his room. Then he slomped around in the front yard. Finally, he slomped around in the backyard. He boinged on the trampoline. He threw a tennis ball at the back of the garage. He lifted one of the paving stones to see if there was a snake under it. Nope. He pulled his shirt up over his head and staggered around just in case he ever had to escape from his backyard blindfolded. He crashed into the shed. It didn't hurt much, but he fell over anyway, because maybe someone was watching. Someone who would rush outside and say, "Are you all right? Do you need some candy?" Nobody rushed outside. Iggy got up. He looked at the shed. He hadn't been inside the shed for a while. He had almost forgotten what was in there. Maybe there was something good, like money, or a sword, or the crazy glue, which had disappeared from the tool drawer after Iggy used it. We are not going to discuss this event. Slomping no more, Iggy opened the door of the shed, dived in, and, he spat out a mouthful of spiderwebs. Then he began to search among the bicycles and camping gear. A sword is pretty big, but money and crazy glue aren't, so he had to look inside all the backpacks. He found a toothpick. He found a flashlight and flicked it.